Wow, hey everybody. There are people here at this time of night. I'm gonna cut to the chase because I didn't expect to come on at all. I didn't feel well. But I'm here. Is a report from another media publication, the name of which I will not mention, but except to say that it's wrong. The City of Oakland can afford to buy out the County of Alameda share of the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Moreover, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf did not say what she was reported to have said, which is that the city can't afford to buy out the County of Alameda. It's not true. She did not say that, okay? The truth is, the city can't afford it, but the question isn't whether or not the city can afford to buy out the Coliseum. You would say, why is this important? If you're not familiar, it has to do with the matter of building a baseball stadium for the Oakland Athletics. So let's say that the A's elect to build at Howard Terminal. They've actually just announced that they are going to go with, I think, very exciting, the BIG architecture group out of Denmark. Perhaps the most innovative architecture firm in the world because they want to reinvent the stadium. But I digress. The A's have stated from the start, particularly under Dave Kaval, who's the president, of their intent to build a privately financed stadium. Okay? So here comes the County of Alameda saying to the City of Oakland, look, if you want control of the Coliseum, you need to buy us out. But think about it. Buyout can mean different things, but the general conversation over the years since this idea first reared its head, which I believe was 2012, was for this to take the form of buying out the county's debt. All right, and so when buying out the county's debt was actually a bigger thing to do back in 2012 than it is today. Why? Because between 2012 and now 2018, the bond debt has been paid both with respect to the Raiders bonds and with respect to the Warriors bonds each year. Okay, so the city pays its $10 million share with respect to the Raiders. The county pays its $10 million share with respect to the Raiders, and of course the Warriors equal split as well. I believe about $40 million is left over. So you add up, it's about $80-90 million buyout. Okay, but it doesn't make sense to do, and here's why. For every property tax dollar, I'm giving you a framework of a dollar here, okay? For every dollar, 35% of that dollar, that property tax dollar in County of Alameda, goes to the county. If it happens to be in Oakland, the land that you own, 30% or 31% goes to the City of Oakland. The remainder goes to BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, AC Transit, and the Flood Control District. That's the primary split of what we call taxing agencies. There are others, but those are the primary taxing agencies that get your property tax dollar. So let's say the A's say, okay, we're going to build at Howard Terminal. It's not just the construction, the anticipated construction that would occur, right? It's also the land speculation involved, which would really, I think, transform Jack London's waterfront, as we call it, Jack London Square and the waterfront, to a point where it really achieves its highest and best use, because then you would have people really bidding to top dollar for the land. But in that process occurring, what would happen is that the County of Alameda would get higher property tax dollars. So basically benefit in two ways. They get $90 million from the city buying them out of the Coliseum, right? Then they turn around and they get enough money, which over time would replace the 90 million, would add to the 90 million that they got from the city. Does that make any sense? Of course it doesn't make any sense. And you would say, why is that? Because, again, it's a privately financed stadium. That means, first of all, the county gets money two ways, not just from the speculation of land around the property, but from the property owner itself. So basically, the county is saying to the city, hey, we think you're suckers. Okay? It's a bad idea to do. It's a completely bad idea to do. I mean, an absolutely dastardly bad idea to do. So you would say, how did we get there? Why did all this start? It started around the time of the negotiation of the A's lease extension and the rancor that went along with it. And it then continued with the Raiders issue. And it was actually Oakland, Alameda County Supervisor Nate Miley who suggested in 2000, if memory serves, 2014, that the city should buy out, the City of Oakland should buy out the county because they couldn't come to any agreements. So all of this entire idea of a buyout was born of an inability to get along that's fixable. As long as the parties decide, hey, look, we can get along, then it's fine. The bottom line of all this is that we have the city and the county went along with this idea that the Coliseum was equally shared, city and county, right? But really it doesn't make any sense because if you go to a Raiders game or an A's game, you're more likely to see Oakland police directing traffic or providing security at the Coliseum than the County of Alameda. It's not the County of Alameda isn't there. No. But I'm saying the Oakland police presence is greater and therefore the costs are greater. Also, look, the Coliseum is in Oakland. It's on the Oakland utility grid. It's on the Oakland sewer line, all right? So Oakland bears the cost of operating the Coliseum in many different ways. The county is different. Look, the county can be, look, you can have a ballpark in Fremont, as was planned at one point, right? And that's Alameda County. But we're talking about Oakland. So the whole discussion is really not fair to Oakland. And if I were the mayor, just saying, I would threaten to sue the county. You would say on what grounds? I would figure out the grounds. I know there's something in there that just isn't right. But I would basically force a legal fist fight in order to write this because it's not clear that the county wants to actually have anything in the way of an agreement that respects the City of Oakland's position. So the only way to get there is to fight it out. So my suggestion is the mayor not do this. My powerful assertion, my begging is the mayor not do this. Oakland Mayor leadership, don't do it. It's a bad deal. It makes us look like suckers. And instead, force a solution where the county basically allows the city to take the lead in development of sports stadiums, and the county simply asks for a monetary return. That's what the county ought to do, because what's happening at the Coliseum right now, in terms of the underuse of the facility, is criminal. We've got a great person who manages it in terms of Scott McKibben, but I'm not happy, and I'll say this on the record, with AEG, that's Anschutz Entertainment Group. They are not bringing us enough events, and they're not acting as the event caretaker at the Coliseum that they should, okay? I'm saying that straight out. So we need to seek better representation. We need to redo the contract. I thought the model that Giants Enterprises offers, established under Pat Gallagher, they should talk to Pat, is a great one to follow. Because Giants Enterprises handle securing their own events. We used to do that. and then we have a better feel for the community, and we wouldn't be part of this network that I feel doesn't, in terms of AEG, doesn't provide us with a consistently used facility. Walk into the Oracle Arena during the JPA meeting, thing is empty. No trucks running around prepared. We've never had any conventions there. It's a beautiful place for a political convention, right? Nothing. We have this multi-billion-dollar set of facilities that we run like it's a high school gym. It's horrible, okay? Absolutely. Like, here's a great one. Matthew Choi says, I don't understand why they haven't built, hello everybody, they haven't built any restaurants at the Coliseum after all these years, yet you want people to be there early and stay late. It's a shame. Yeah, you can't even line up comfortably and wait for, you know, the gates of the A's games to open when it's hot. So your first thought is, as was mine, oh my God, it's hot out here. Where's the shade? It would be great to have some place, you know, to stand or just get a decent salad, you know? Not there at all. John Mark says they were doing that during the 80s and the 90s. Let me go back. Hey, T. Cooper, guy, y'all are here late. I'm not going to be on long because it's 2:36 in the morning, but I wanted to get out here. Hey, Patrick Blackman, I stole your shares. John Mark says the A's won. Matthew Troy says build ballpark at Howard Terminal, remake Jack London Square. Yeah, so those are the comments. And hey, Cowboy Wrestler, how you doing? So I'll take your questions and comments, but I want to get that out, and I want to actually update the description below because that's about to become a blog post when I stop, and update it to basically discuss that, you know, the county needs to really respect the City of Oakland and its position, and it doesn't. You know, it really does not. Now, if the county disagrees and, you know, wants to say, hey, you know, we do, well, they need to prove it. There needs to be a better solution arrived at than what is presented. So what I wrote was, the City of Oakland I wrote the City of Oakland can buy out the County of Alameda's share of the Oakland Coliseum. That's contrary to a media report stating that the City of Oakland could not do that. Further, I know for a fact the Mayor of Oakland did not say that in a report in a meeting with business leaders, I should write last week. Last week, okay? But the fact is, the City of Oakland can't afford to pay for the County of Alameda's share of the Coliseum. I should say Oakland Coliseum. Right here. Then I continue and I say, but the City of Oakland should not give the County of Alameda one dime for the Coliseum. And the reason is simple. The County of Alameda is essentially forcing Oakland into a place where it spends public money just so the county can get a free ride on new revenue from a ballpark, even if it's built, I should say, from a privately financed ballpark. Private, because it's going to be privately financed. Yeah, private, excuse me. It's privately, got it, finance ballpark, even if it's built at Howard Terminal, at Jack London's Waterfront. There, okay. And I say, see, the County of Alameda gets 35% of each property tax dollar. So if a ballpark is constructed at Howard Terminal, the County of Alameda gets rich off the land speculation from property being built up around the proposed stadium. Then it gets money from the Oakland A's. The City of Oakland is less $90 million, which is about what it would take to buy out the Coliseum debt exposure. So the County of Alameda wins not just by getting Oakland's buyout, but then by the activity of a privately financed stadium which pays property taxes. That's not right. It makes Oakland look like a complete sucker. Just say no, Mayor Schaaf, just say no. Rather, the County of Alameda should recognize the fact that Oakland bears the brunt of the operating cost and infrastructure infrastructure service cost to the Coliseum, and just ask that the City of Oakland fashion a deal that earns money for the county too. Like that, okay? That's the best way to do that. But this whole, you know, we just want to get out of sports is ridiculous. So what? All right? It's not, it's just bad planning. It's bad thinking. I'm typing down here as I talk. I'm avoiding using certain words that will be rightfully misconstrued by people who are my friends, and I'm not trying to insult them, but I do think it's about time that the city and the county had one of those good old-fashioned knockdown dragouts, and regarding the issue of sports in the Coliseum. We haven't had one of those in a long time. See, when I was intern for the redevelopment agency coming out of grad school, you know, we routinely fought the county. I mean, all the time. It was, you know, and yet we all got along. Steve Zaley was the county administrator. Ezra Rapport was the assistant city manager. Henry Gardner was city manager. We had David Self before him. And then we had, after Henry, we had, Robert Bob. But before we had Robert Bob, we had Kofi Bonner for a minute as the interim city manager. We had Craig Hoshin before him. And then before Craig, we had, you know, Henry Gardner, right? So at any rate, we were very, as a city, we were very proud of our capabilities. We, as a city, were innovators with respect to developing financing techniques to concern, you know, a number of challenging situations we had to deal with. Born of the fact that we weren't getting a lot of development because in those days, due to institutional investor racism, money would skip over Oakland and would go to Contra Costa County and other parts of the East Bay. And if it weren't for redevelopment and the relationships that a number of elected officials had with regional and state politicians and Washington, we wouldn't have gotten federal dollars to build the government nexus that created downtown Oakland. Federal building, the state building, now called the Hugh Harris State Building, and a number of other state-owned buildings around. So it's different now, and of course, we're getting that investment. I don't want to go too far off the track, but my point is, back then, we really had to be creative. But today, we still have to be creative. Just because we have that money doesn't mean we don't. In fact, we have to be more creative than ever because we still haven't solved the homeless emergency problem, and that's the one thing I need to put in here. I should say the county too, and the county should remember that we have an emergency level homeless problem that we have yet to solve. And I say, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, you know, what we ought to do is take $15, $20 million, right, and quite literally fashion it in grants and give it to those people who are on the streets of Oakland, which would probably add up to, you know, grants, what, $5,000 per person, and quite literally jumpstart their lives. I mean, that would make a great, great, great difference to people. We say we're in this homeless emergency, and yet we don't collectively act like it, okay? So, John Marks says, to think then Oakland Mayor Jerry Brown wanted to get rid of redevelopment, and as governor of California, he did just that, and Oakland suffered greatly. Yeah, after using redevelopment to fare thee well. Cowboy Russ says, John Marks, I was born in Richmond, raised in Antioch. And let's see, we've got, see here, we also have, let's see here. Basically, oh, John Marks says, Oakland needs to get tough and say no to Alameda County. Cowboy says, prayers for Travis Frederick. Wow, okay. Patrick M. Blackman asks, since when did the county hold power of the city? Well, that's a great question, and Mr. Blackman, and the answer is really, it doesn't, okay? Oakland is the county seat. It is ran by home rule, and so this all started because of an argument born at the level of the Coliseum. Well, it wasn't at the Coliseum JPA level, it was more city in the county, and it had to do with, in fact, you know what? Let me go back and read, because I remember it was Nate Miley. Miley issued this press release. Nate Miley Coliseum buyout, because it was Nate who started this. And maybe it's because of the latest of the hour, my memory is not, this is kicking in. It says, Oakland wants to buy Alameda's portion of the Coliseum. That's 2018. A's don't support Oakland Alameda County Coliseum buyout. And see, the whole purpose of the county's existence is because of its financial capacity. So, in fact, I forgot to mention that, I will later. The other advantage we lose is we don't have the county's credit capacity. So look, we lose in this way. The county is asking us to pay, right, $90 million. Then it wants to get money from the property tax revenues that it will enjoy over from the construction of a privately financed stadium. Oh, but then by the way, it wants to weaken the city of Oakland's capacity in terms of credit, City of Oakland's credit capacity with respect to the Coliseum, because it wouldn't be a part of the deal anymore. So how is all that a win for the City of Oakland? It's not. Okay? It's not a win at all. Again, it's a sucker deal. All right? It's a sucker deal. So this was written, Alameda County officials face realities of the Coliseum. This was written by a public CEO. And I haven't read this, I haven't even heard of this publication before. Public CEO at all. But it's kind of hard to read, so I'm not going to bother reading it. And Alameda County Sports Business Daily picked it up in 2015. Alameda County looking to sell stake in Coliseum. Says Alameda County leaders want out of the pro sports business and have told Oakland officials they're ready to sell their stake in the Coliseum, right? And so, you know, Nate Miley said it's extremely challenging to negotiate a deal with the city, the county, 2 public entities and 3 sports teams. Miley said that, and that was 2015. County reps yesterday delivered a message to Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf and NFL execs and immediately the Raiders Alameda headquarters. Right, that was it, because it was after that headquarters that Eric Grumman was there from the NFL, and Eric got into a car with Mark Bourdain. I was trying to catch Eric and Mark, so I wound up following them to Oakland Airport to find out what happened with the stadium plan that Mark Davis had asked me to come up with. So it wasn't 2014, it was 2015. Sorry, it's late, folks. In fact, you know what? It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. So I will see you tomorrow night. If I don't come on by 9 o'clock Pacific, you know, someone send me an email and say, hey, Zinni, what's going on? Because I've been been swamped with work, and yet at the same time under energized. So I've got to pop some vitamins. All right, I haven't even been to the gym in 3 days. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks a lot. Okay, I'll see you.